Is science evil? Here's something weird. The same species that made the vaccine, they also made poison gas. The same brain that figured out DNA also figured out how to turn it into a weapon. And the same technology giving you this video right now is also used to spy on millions of people. And all of these people, the good ones and the terrifying ones, they probably call themselves scientists. So what exactly is going on here? It starts 400,000 years ago. Some human picks up a rock, hits it against another rock, and makes fire. In that moment, they were not thinking, I'm starting a very complicated relationship with technology that will one day end up with nuclear weapons and TikTok. They just wanted to be warm. But here is the pattern, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it anymore. Every big jump in science started as a solution to a small problem. We learned metalwork to make farming tools. Then someone looked at the iron and thought, wait, this would also make a great sword. We learned chemistry to treat illness. Then someone realized those same reactions could be used to make poison for war. We split the atom to understand the universe, and we ended up with a bomb that can destroy an entire city within seconds. And in our lifetime, we built social media to connect people. Now it's used to spread panic, sell things you probably don't need, and somehow convince people that the earth is flat. Every tool we have ever made has a dark twin. So here is the first question. Is this science's fault, or is something else the problem? Stay with me, because it gets way more interesting from here. Albert Einstein did not build the atomic bomb, but his work made it possible.
Born citizen, Professor Albert Einstein, who helped discover the atom bomb.
He spent the rest of his life carrying that. He once said he did not know what weapons the next world war would be fought with, but the one after that would be fought with rocks and sticks. Think about that. The man who figured out how the universe works, sitting there terrified of what that knowledge made possible. That's not a villain story, that's just sad. But here is the part most people miss. The real problem with science isn't just what we've built with it, it is what it slowly does to how we see ourselves. At its most extreme, science takes a human being apart and puts the pieces on a table. Brain cells, chemicals, electrical signals, survival instincts, and then it looks at all of that and says, yep, that's a person. Which is like taking a PlayStation, laying out every chip and wire and plastic piece, and saying, you now fully understand why FIFA makes people throw their controllers across the room. You understand the hardware, but the experience is somewhere else. Quick question. If someone made a perfect digital copy of your brain, would that copy be you? And here's the thing that really gets me. Beethoven wrote his greatest music after he went completely deaf. The man could not hear a single note, and he still produced something that makes people cry 200 years later. No scan, no chemical test, no study will ever fully explain that. Some things just refuse to be measured. Okay, so here's something nobody really teaches you. You actually have two completely different things living inside you at the same time. The first one is your body. It needs food, sleep, charges like a phone, and just like a phone, it slows down over time and eventually stops working. It is basically very impressive hardware. The second one is stranger. It is the part of you that watches all of that happen. The eye that notices when you're hungry. The eye that has been there your entire life, saying the same word, I, whether you were 6 years old or whether you will be 60. Something in you has been constant this whole time, unchanged. Think about it. Your opinions change, your body changes, your taste in music changes, hopefully, but the thing doing the observing, still there, still the same. When did you last notice that quiet part of you? Not your thoughts, not your feelings, just the fact that you're here. Here is a wild way to think about it. You can only observe movement from outside of it. When you are in a smooth elevator, there is a moment you really can't tell if it's moving or standing still until you look at the floor outside. You need something fixed to measure something moving. So how do you experience time passing? Years going by, your whole life. You can only do that because something in you is not inside the flow of time. Something is standing outside it, watching still, like the fixed floor in the elevator. That part of you does not age, does not show up in a blood test. You can replace someone's knee, their heart, their hip, and they are still the same person. But you can't replace whatever is doing the experiencing. That's not a body part. That's something else. Call it what you want. The self, the soul, consciousness, but it refuses to fit in a lab. Science is brilliant at answering how. It has always been completely quiet about why. It can tell you exactly which chemicals fire in your brain when you fall in love. It cannot tell you why love matters. It can describe grief as stress response. It cannot tell you why losing someone feels like losing a piece of yourself. And that gap between knowing how everything works and knowing why any of it means something is actually one of the most dangerous gaps in history. A philosopher named Hannah Arendt wrote something disturbing after the Second World War. She found that history's worst events were not done by obvious monsters. They were done by very normal people. Office workers, engineers, people who were really good at their jobs and never once stopped to ask whether the job itself was good. Give enormous power to someone with no answer to why, and you don't get a scientist, you get a very efficient machine pointed in whatever direction someone else decided. Here is a question worth sitting with. What happens when the most powerful people in the world are very smart but have no real answer to why does any of this matter? Okay, but to be fair, and science deserves fairness, the same force that gave us poison gas also gave us vaccine, surgeries, clean water, and the ability to video call your friend on the other side of the planet, and that's honestly wild. Science is not the problem. Science is more like a magnifying glass. It does not create what it finds. It makes bigger whatever was already there. Point it at a human kindness, you get hospitals and medicine. Point it at a human greed, you get weapons and violence. The glass does not choose, the hand holding it does. You can build a school and a prison from the exact same materials. The difference was never in the bricks, it was in the intention. It was in someone's answer to why. So the answer to the question, is science evil? No. Science is one of the most incredible things humans have ever done. A project that has been running for thousands of years, just trying to honestly understand the world. But it was never built to tell us what to do with what it finds. That part was always meant to come from somewhere else. From the part of you that can't be scanned or measured. From your answer to why. Right now, we have more power than any generation before us. AI that can think, weapons that can end cities, algorithms that can shape what billions of people believe. And the only thing standing between all of that and disaster is whether the people holding it have a good enough answer to why any of this matters. Einstein was not wrong about the sticks and rocks. He was just early. The question was never about science, it was always about us.